This is an aluminum cup, half coated with lizard skin, and this is probably 180, 200 degrees.
Right. Starbucks should put this on all their cups.
Yeah.
My finger accidentally touched the bottom of the cup. It's
Right.
shockingly hot.
That's a ceramic coating
That's a
only,
ceramic
so
coating.
that's not the sound. Nope.
So this is... You can't make podcasts with that kind of stuff going on. But... Oh, yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? Matthew here on the North American van life industry tour. We have just left Backwoods Adventure Mods a couple of days ago. We got the van suited up with a front bumper, drifter rack, rear bumper, and a ladder, my friend. On top of that, a whole bunch of lights and a winch. She's a beast. But inside, there's a whole bunch of issues to do with thermal balance and sound balance. These vans are not designed to be quiet, and they're not designed so much like an RV to be nice and comfortable and warm inside out of the box. One of the things that I wanted to do with my van, because I'm going to be basically living in it full time, is to make it sound quiet, because I'm going to be editing videos and driving around in it all the time, and also make sure that it's cool in the summer and it's warm in the winter. Mascoat also owns a subsidiary called Lizard Skin, and Lizard Skin is a very interesting coating that I saw online when I was doing some research about building out the van, and I reached out to them and I asked them if they could help me with coating the van with their specialized surface coating that goes on the interior of the van. Now, they're not going to do the installation here. We'll follow up with the video later, but I asked if I could come by and take a look at their operations and pick up some of the coatings. And so we're here in Houston, Texas, about to check out Lizard Skin. Let's see. This is Will Connor, and I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Cody.
Cody. What do you want to do? Do you want to take a look at the van?
Yeah, we'll go outside, take a look at the van, see what all you got working with.
Is it okay for me to record you?
Yeah,
Okay.
not a problem.
All right, cool.
So yeah, all this is going to have to come off, and we should adhere just fine to this
I think it would,
Yeah.
you know, because nothing's going to dampen it, and I'm going to have Havelock wool inside over it, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, the thing is, if we fall off, we're not going to do it.
No. I'm a guinea pig, you know, so
Yeah.
This is not the recommended way, you know,
Right. The only other thing I would think of is that we would, you know, it may help to do a primer coat, you know, an epoxy primer on top of the Kilmat before you put us on. What we're trying to do is just make sure you have the best bond as possible.
Yeah, right.
You know, if you put a primer on and then that's sticking just fine,
Yeah.
we're going to stick to the primer just fine.
Exactly.
And then if you're going to be doing the heated floor, you know, putting the ceramic insulation down, you know, before you put the floor
That would
on,
be great, right?
You know, because what that's going to do, that's going to help hold in a lot of that heat a lot better than normal. And so, you know, because our sustained limit is 350 degrees Fahrenheit, I don't think your heated floor is going to reach that.
Yeah,
so,
no.
You know, my guess is that'll be, you know, 100, you know, the low one, you know, below 150. Well, so if you have to drill into the floor at all, I mean, I'm not sure if they require you to do that.
Well, no, it'll be floating.
Okay.
It'll be floating. Yeah.
Secured by wires on top.
Right.
Okay. The reason I ask is because you can just drill through us if you do have to do work at a later date. It's not going to peel back. We're just going to come off right at the point of the drill hole, and that's it. So,
Okay.
So it's really easy.
It's not going to shatter and
No, it's really easy to work with that. The great thing is with these spinner vans, with using like what you're doing with having ceramic insulation, and then you're going to be putting some sort of foam material on top, correct?
Yeah.
So what that's going to do is in the summertime, our coating is going to do a great job at blocking that initial heat from the sun.
From penetrating.
So what a lot of people don't realize, when they just put insulation on a bare metal wall, in the wintertime, that cold metal is going to interact with that warm insulation. And then you have condensation in the back, and what happens there is, you're going to have you could have mold and mildew issues depending on the type of foam that you use.
Yep.
The water in the insulation can actually make it perform a lot less than it would normally.
Okay.
And so we've seen this with a lot of people who have been building sprinter vans for 10 years, that when their customers are coming back in and they pull the sides off to see what's going on, it's just gross behind there. And so a lot of them are starting to use us in their building because they want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Thermal barrier doesn't necessarily have an R knot, does it? Like that? No. So how does that work?
Well, basically, actually, I might let Cody run this one.
So our value is based on the thickness of material, right?
Yeah.
So insulative coatings, because we're a film that's very thin compared to traditional insulation, an inch thick normally, we don't have that of value. But thermal conductivity is something that is low insulation for our product, and that is ultimately what slows the heat rate. So that's exactly how the product works. So regardless of having a thickness to the product, we technically have an R value, but since we don't have that magnitude of actual distance, it's not equivalent to saying you have an R10 or something like that. The product's going to work well to reduce heat transfer, whether it's coming or going. You're going to help with condensation control and then radiant reduction.
The thing to think about our coatings with, it's, you know, what we're working with is heat flux, and so that's the feel of the temperature of the whatever material that you're doing. And so a great way to think about that is when you pull your jeans out of the dryer, you know, and you can touch the denim and it's warm and it's comforting and all that. But if you touch a metal button or a rivet, you're going to burn yourself, right? When it comes out of the dryer. And so our coating acts more like the denim, where it just doesn't transfer heat efficiently.
I always like a good analogy, you know?
Right, yeah, and that's the best way we can do it without getting into the engineering and things like that. And so, you know, without pinning an exact temperature is, you know, in the summertime, you're going to reduce interior temperatures by, you know, 20 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, somewhere in there. And so, you know, in a vehicle, you're going to want to have the air conditioning running, but you know, in a situation where it's really hot and you just want to open the doors, you know, what we're going to stop is that oven effect from the heat just penetrating the metal and then shooting down into the interior.
When I do this, because I'm going to have to do this on my own, what prep do I need to do to the, am I going to have to scuff the...
So you've got this enamel coating that came with it, and, you know, we can stick directly to this, but best practices would say to get a very light, you know, fine sandpaper or red Scotch-Brite. Work on, you know, when you do it, you'll start seeing the swirls happening. And just once you see a swirl, you're done. You know, all that. And so then once you do that throughout the interior, what you're going to want to do is, you know, maybe get some compressed air and blow it out. You know, it's going to fall on the floor, sweep it out, and then do a solvent wipe of some kind. You know, MEK, acetone, or even vinegar, you know. And so what we're doing is we're just looking to get all the little particles of dust out and gone. Once you do that, you can spray our water-based coating directly to this. You don't need a primer. What we were talking about putting a primer on the Kilmat is we just want to ensure the best adhesion possible.
It's a weird surface. It's a weird surface.
So, and since we don't do testing with that, you know, that's going to be your best bet right there. And then the other thing you want to do is if you have identified the holes that you're going to use, you know, or you haven't, but you want to make sure these holes are there, what we say is get the little orange earplugs and stick those into all these holes. And basically what that's going to do... Yeah, and so what that's going to do is you can spray over that all day long, and then when you get done, you can just pull the earplug back out, and there's your nice clean hole without any coating on it. So anybody who's done a paint job, or the prep work is the hardest part. And so
and most tedious.
You know, when it comes to doing, you know, you're going to have the doors open and all this stuff. So, you know, we always recommend is like, you know, visqueen off, you know, or like tape off, you know, your rubber gaskets here, and you know, put some visqueen so it's covering the doors, because when you're spraying up here, you know, some can come out and it might land on the outside, and so we want to make sure that that's cleaned up. You know, anywhere where you're going to have your door, if the door's open, put some cardboard or something down there so that it's not dropping on the shop floor. Our coatings have a dry fall radius of 3 feet, meaning that when you're spraying, once the coating gets 3 feet away from the gun, it'll be dry. And so if you're spraying up here, but some of it falls down on the floor, you know, you're gonna be able to sweep that off later. But if you're down here on the floor spraying, you know, you might get a little bit on the ground and then it'll be stuck there, because, you know, while our coatings are wet, they're very easy to work with. You can just use a, you know, rag with water and wipe it right off. But you know, once it's dried, you know, we built this stuff to last, so it's going to be there, it's going to stick to whatever it is. So that's why you want to make sure your prep work is done properly.
What's the optimal temperature for the coating itself?
70 degrees or above, and that goes for the air, but also the metal that you're spraying on.
Warm the van up.
Yeah, I mean, because outside right now, I think we're about 65 degrees, but when I touch the metal, it feels colder than that. So that's something that you have to be, you know, that you have to be cognizant of. In the wintertime, it really does help to be in a heated shop of some kind. And, you know, like I said, with a project this big, you're probably looking at, you know, 3 days of spraying, where, you know, you do your first day with the sound control and 2 coats, give it 1 day afterwards, and, you know, to let that cure out. Then you follow back up with the ceramic insulation, and then you want to give both, and you do that in 2 coats. You can do that in one day. Start 1 coat in the morning, 1 coat in the afternoon, and then let it cure out for 2 or 3 days. But during that whole period, it really is optimal to be above 65, 70 degrees, because we're water based. If it gets below 60, we're going to stop curing.
How long have you been here?
I've been with the company for 14 years.
Oh.
Cody, you've been here, what, 6?
And you were originally Mascoat and then Lizard Skin sort of branched off?
Mascoat is industrial, and it's our business-to-business arm, where we do a lot more in industrial, marine, things like that on the Mascoat side.
Okay.
The Lizard Skin brand came as an offshoot of it, because we had some motor enthusiasts come and say, hey, we see your technology, could you do something over here? So we worked with them to do it, and then when they retired, they sold us back the marketing rights, and so we've been having a lot of fun with it for about the last 11 years.
Okay,
so,
cool.
So we got some hot water here.
Okay.
Basically what this is an aluminum cup half coated with lizard skin, and you can see the thicknesses that we're talking about.
Oh,
so
okay. Wow,
that's really
that's
thin.
softer than I thought.
Yeah, and it's really thin. So what we were talking about earlier with the the R value, this is why it's hard for us to do it, because
It's so thin.
It's so thin,
Yeah.
but and this will be more like the heat flux that I was talking about. So this is going to be warm, because this is subjected. I mean, this is probably 180, 200 degrees.
Right.
But we're working with 1 millimeter of product, and so if I go to touch that, it's going to be untouchable. Watch out.
All right, that's hot.
Yeah. But here, I'll let you pick it up by the lizard skin.
Starbucks should put this on all their cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You can't touch. Oh, even if my finger accidentally touched the bottom of the cup, it's
Right.
shockingly hot.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, that's a very, very practical
Right.
example of the usage of that. Now, this is the ceramic coating.
That's a ceramic coating
That's a
only,
ceramic
so that's
coating.
not the sound. So we can show you the sound here in a minute as well.
Okay. Wow.
No, this is just a perfect example of what I was talking about with the blue jean analogy earlier.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
This is the button or the rivet, and then this is the denim, and so
Right.
it's just warm to the touch, and
Exactly.
it's not going to hurt you. Yeah, this is our production warehouse, and so this is what I was saying, that I'm sorry that we couldn't facilitate you spraying here, but
Yeah. Where am I gonna go?
Yeah, exactly. So I think you'll be in the way of the forklifts.
And to heat this place up to 70 degrees constantly. So this is. You can't make podcasts with that kind of stuff going on. But. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I might have a real high quality studio going on in there.
Yeah, what we're doing here is we're stopping that metal from vibrating. So you've got this big box that's all metal,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is at sheets, and so that's where you're seeing that vibration, which can in turn put noise inside the vehicle. So that's driving, and while you're in a campsite, if there's a party going on next door, how that sound transfers into the interior is basically the sound hits your metal, it vibrates the metal, and then it enters into the vehicle.
So that's going to help with just normal outside sounds, not even just
yeah.
the actual metal moving. It'll be like
Right.
the exterior. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so once the van's all closed up, we're going to help
Other than the
produce it.
windows.
Yeah, I mean that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
they don't vibrate all that
Yeah.
much. But
So obviously the sound control is going to be the heavier one, since it's a mass loaded product, whereas the ceramic insulation is air encapsulated particles. So in your case, we'll do the 2 gallons. So if you want to grab that's pretty light.
Oh wow, that's lighter than I thought.
Now this one confuses people.
Okay.
So this is the sound control. You're looking at about 15 pounds per gallon.
Oh my gosh. That's heavy.
yeah, no, it definitely is. So, but once it's applied to the vehicle, you're only looking at about half a pound per square foot at the full 1 millimeter recommended thickness. So
The water inside.
the water inside evaporates
Evaporates.
out, and that's the curing process. So.
I mean, so you said about 10 gallons per?
Oh yeah, I would say for that whole vehicle, probably 10 to 12 gallons total per product.
Even with you're saying put the sound control on the
That's full enclosure.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you,
Yeah.
and both being water based, they spray with the same exact gun.
Can you show me the gun?
Absolutely.
I can use the same gun for the Deadener and the ceramic.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the product, is that being water based, it cleans up extremely easy with water. All you need here is most likely a quick connect to go to your compressor, but we're looking for a compressor capable of 4 to 5 CFMs, depending on the gallon size. That may be 15 gallons and up.
Okay.
But ultimately, the CFM rating is what you're looking for. That's the most important.
Okay.
Basically, it just has a really quick little orifice on it, and ultimately tightening it is going to decrease your flow, and loosening it's going to increase your flow.
Okay.
Spray pattern of the product is probably about a softball, depending on where you set it at, and it's going to give you like an orange peel texture, similar to a bed liner, but not as rough.
Okay.
Probably more flattered, especially depending on which product you're working with. It also comes with a 90-degree tip.
Okay.
So when you're spraying the roof, yeah, you don't have to tilt it back like this.
Okay.
You can keep it sprayed. This is going to give you a little bit more of a texture because of the 90-degree bend.
So what we recommend is having a helper, and what they're doing is they're filling the extra cup while you're spraying, or vice versa, and then that way that you're just doing a quick reload instead of having to put everything down, get over, pour the bucket out, things into the cup. Some people have asked us, why don't we have a bigger cup than this? Well, we've looked at a lot of options, and what we've seen is that when you get bigger on this, especially with the sound control being as heavy as it is, it's going to wear your arm out really fast to do it that way. So that's why we recommend that. Thickness is very important to our, not only the drying and curing schedule, but it's also extremely important to the performance. And so what we're looking for on both coatings is 2 20 to 24 mil coats. So a mil is 1/1000th of an inch, okay? So every 20 mils is about, it's 0.25 millimeters. We have marked off the 18 to 24. Those are the thicknesses that you're looking for while you're spraying.
Okay.
And so what you do is you pull this off, so when you're spraying, you stick it in, you can look at it, you'll see the coating glistening here on the edges, and then like any paint job, you're going to want to have something that you're not going to wear to the
you're going to
ball
get messy.
afterwards. So basically what you do is, once you take that measurement, you can do two things. One, if you have like a white shirt, what we like to do is press it like that and then pull the gauge off, and you'll see exactly where the coating is and where it isn't. When I talk about curing and drying, if you over apply this, the water can get trapped inside, and that can lead to either blisters happening when the sun hits the side of the vehicle, or it may lead to mud cracking, where basically it's like when you look at a really dry ground, and you see it it's cracked. That's because what water was in there was working to escape, and everything's kind of pulling back.
So we're going to pick up some of the product, and I'm going to carry it around with me, and I'll bring it back to Detroit, and I'll find someplace warm and start spraying. One of the things that he said is that don't freeze it, because it's water based. It'll become an ice cube and not lizard skin, and it won't be useful. And the other thing, when you mix it for 30 to 40 minutes, 40 seconds.
It could take longer depending on
You can mix it up as long as you want. Have fun. No. Okay.
And really, once you mix it, it may take a little longer, shorter, depending on the day, but you're looking for like a creamy milkshake, cake batter texture.
All right. Don't taste test.
Yeah, no taste.
No taste testing.
It's got a little bit of a shine.
My tongue is thermally neutral.
So this is our Mascoat Wall of Fame. So Mascoat is the parent company of Lizard Skin, and that's where the technology originally comes from. And so what we are showing is, not only do we do automotive, we do tons of different things. So, modified shipping containers. People are building those into homes and offices more often, but those corrugated walls are notoriously difficult to insulate.
Yeah.
So you can spray us on, we do say, just like vans, we tell you to put some sort of foam insulation, but again, we're going to be the first line of defense against the sun. We'll also be the first line of defense against condensation that's happening. But we also have marine things going on, like the Navy, metal building, and in hot areas, to keep the sun out. Offshore support vessels, we're going in all those. Food cookers, these are hydrosterilizers that cook canned food once it's been packaged. We go on the top to make the working environment around those more comfortable for people, so it's not so hot. Tons of different things. We have large storage tanks, yachts, just tons of different, U.S. Coast Guard cutters.
Oh, on this side too. I mean, you're all over the place. Emergency vehicles, I can imagine that's an important
vehicles,
thing.
And so like in fire trucks, one of the things that happens is, when you see the picture of an inside of a fire truck, you have the four guys in the back, they're all facing each other, and there's a giant thing in the middle. What that is, that's the engine.
Yeah, I'm a firefighter.
Okay, so those guys on the doghouse, they're resting their arms on the doghouse. So we have about 4 different manufacturers that are using us to coat the doghouse vans to protect those firefighters inside.
Wow.
You know, we've done also the, you know, smaller vans, things like that. You know, I mean, just tons of different things.
Look, there's a little space there for JaYoe.
Yeah,
right
there you go. Basically, if there's heat or condensation or sound, we can help you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well that's cool. We have some of the most advanced thermal and sound deadening coating that you can install in your Vanlife van. It's even used for all sorts of commercial applications. I like that. Load her up and let's go.
Watch your back number.
Yeah.
Weighs about 30 pounds, you know, 150 square feet. Love it.
Oh wow, okay. Thank you so
Thank you very much. Feel free to give us a call. We'll chat about
I'll be videotaping the whole thing, so I'll you'll have examples of how bad I mess this up.
it. Awesome. All right, Matt.
Okay.
Have a great rest
Yeah.
of your trip. Look forward to seeing where you head.
Okay, take it easy. Lizard skin. JaYoe.